We're all about positivity over here at Youtini. Positivity, just positive. But I'm not feeling, 100% positive tonight because we do have a bit of a somber beginning here tonight on the show. We're gonna put a positive spin on it. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna play a little game. But as you notice behind me in my background, unless of course you're listening on audio, in which case, let me paint the picture for you. Behind me, there is my Star Wars bookcase. But what's not there anymore is all the fun pizzazz that I had along with it. I had the Death Star lighting panels. Those have been unscrewed and put unceremoniously in the corner of the basement. I had a mural up on top of it of the Tantive V4 on the run from Darth Vader's Star Destroyer from the opening scene of A New Hope that my wife painted for me because she's a muralist. You can hire her at rebletters.com. Anyway, that's beside the point. Didn't ask Corey if I could plug that. Nobody tell Corey. I had to paint over it. It's just gray. I had to paint over my Star Wars room. Can I get like a eulogy? Can we have a Viking funeral for my Star Wars room?
Works for me.
Wouldn't that mean we would burn your house down?
Oh, is that what a Viking funeral is?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it just meant like
burn
Vikings
it down.
came to the
Burn
funeral.
it down. Burn it down.
If I can't have it, no one can.
It's probably a fire hazard. I built this bookshelf myself and installed those lights. And no, it's not. If you're listening to this Leominster Fire Department, it's not. I promise. It is, however, after all the work that I put in, painted it gray, the same color as the rest of the room, same color it was before we painted over it, a year and a half ago. It looks fine. It looks good. I mean, what do you guys think? Behind me, does it look okay?
It's not bad. I mean, I definitely loved what you did with it because I would say our backgrounds have evolved with the podcast, right? So seeing yours turn into the beautiful mural that you did, and then taking it down, it's almost a flashback to the beginnings of our podcast.
It is. At least the bookshelves get to stay because you don't have to put Star Wars books on them. You can put plants. I don't know. What are other books? Cookbooks, small cookbooks. They're both exactly for the size of the regular Legends paperback. So you're not going to be able to fit very tall books on there, but you can put paperbacks. So there's that. But now here's what I want to do. Obviously, was very proud of what I have. We're moving. This needs to look like a normal house. We've got the real estate photographer coming over. The idea is this could be anybody's house. It's got to be a blank slate and all that nonsense. But here's what I would like to do. Can you guys give me ideas on what my next Star Wars room will look like? And ideally, I'm going to have better salary, living in a part of the country where real estate is cheaper. Ideally, I will have a bigger Star Wars room at the next place. Don't know yet what the house will be. I potentially can sink some money into it too. Not a ton, but possibly some money. I've got some ideas, but what do y'all think? If you were to say, my goal would be to have one of the coolest Star Wars Legends collections in the world. Period. One of the, and I think that this was at least one of them. How far down the list? I don't know. At least one of the coolest Star Wars Legends books collections in the world. What would you do?
Floating holocrons.
Oh yeah.
Holocrons?
That'd be cool.
I'm
thinking
floating
like a Dagobah vibe. You could have
plants.
vines everywhere and moss
Snakes.
growing on stuff, terrariums.
My daughter does love snakes. She loves snakes.
They're the best pets.
We
they
told her the
make
other day.
really good pets.
We said some snakes are poisonous. So when we live in Arkansas, don't just pick up any snake you see. And she said, rattlesnakes are poisonous. I was like, that's right. That's right. There you go.
There you go.
Very proud. Dagobah. Now, I've thought about having an actual tree growing in my Star Wars room. Like on, what planet is that on KOTOR? Dantooine, the Jedi Temple? There's a big tree growing in the middle of the Jedi Temple. I've really wanted to have that vibe. So there's that. What do you think, Freddie? Holocrons. Holocrons will fit on the shelf.
I've always thought of the Emperor's throne room, just having it cold, dark, and having your seat, and the thing that I love about Sith is that they like things, right? They do like things.
Yes.
And they collect the rarest of things, which is very much kind of in the collector in me. So when I saw Palpatine's spotlights on your things and
yes.
And whenever you see Palpatones, I almost said Palpatone. Palpatine.
That's a band name. It has to be. The Palpatones.
The Palpatones.
A ska band.
How about this? The naked Palpatones. There
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. Branding.
we go. We
Oh,
literally
man.
said before the show started, nobody say naked Palpatine tonight. We're on the very first segment.
We, technically you just said it because we
It
didn't say it. We
happens
said that
every
naked
week.
Palpatones. But...
Correct. Yep. Rewind. Nothing happened. Nothing to see here. Move along. Now, Freddie, there is something there. I could potentially build. I like to build this stuff myself. I could buy some, but like I'm a redneck like that, right? I could build a Palpatine throne, like the chair.
Yeah.
I could build the chair. Now, in Dark Empire, correct me if I'm wrong here, he has kind of like a museum, right? Isn't that where like Leia's hanging out? She like trying to save Luke, and she comes along and finds Voto Boss's holocron just like sitting on a pedestal.
You're right. It's like the rarities that he's collected, right? And we even see that in gosh, what video game is that? Is that Battlefront? I can't remember, but there's a whole section where Luke is like in the tomes of someone's collection.
I don't know. Let us know in the chat if you can think of it.
Something like that. Yeah.
I'm not sure. All right, Emily, did you give any ideas? You said Dagobah.
Dagobah.
Like a Dagobah.
Or like Palpatine's office, or like the throne room, that kind of thing. That
Yeah.
Palpatine's office on Coruscant would be
that
cool.
would be bougie.
I
Like
thought-
I'd imagine like
the
a
red walls?
pedestal with like a glass case and like some holocron or like Thrawn's like bust sitting in it.
These are not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I'm thinking like Vader's meditation chamber, like the whole
Leave me alone.
yeah. Or like, Thrawn's like, what's his meditation room called with all the art and stuff,
Ooh, that's a good-
No, that's on.
just like on his start Chimera, yeah. So something like that, just very artistic and simple, minimalistic. Maybe even have like book panels that come up to reveal the books, but have the room
I've got
That would be my office. I don't think that's Jared.
I've got over 400 Star Wars books.
And he wants
400.
them all displayed.
There's no way this can be minimalist. There's no way. All right, let me tell you the
I love
two
that idea though,
ideas
Rick.
that I've had. I've thought about doing like the Millennium Falcon interior. So like building the booth.
That's very fancy.
Where they sit and play Dajaric.
That
and
would be
then
cool.
like that's where I would sit. And then or like the cockpit chair. I would have a Millennium Falcon cockpit chair. And then my desk would be a Dajaric board. And then like those foam panels on the walls. I've thought about like doing those in the office.
You could even put like scorch marks from laser bolts after Dajaric someone's lost.
That's cool.
That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Okay.
Carbon scoring.
Let us know there in the chat if you got any ideas. Help me to mourn properly my Star Wars collection as we're boxing it up. I've already packed away all of the Funkos. Talked about that last week. I boxed up and organized my Pokemon cards this week. Had to paint over the mural, but help me with some ideas. And stay tuned in the Legends Lookback Discord. I will post pictures when I have a new Star Wars room. We can start designing it. I'll show you everything I do wrong along the way. But you know what? We're not going to do anything wrong along the way tonight on Legends Lookback. So without further ado, we've got a great, dare we say, a legendary book to discuss tonight. So without further ado, let's start the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Legends Look Back, proudly part of the Youtini Podcast Network. This is a Star Wars books podcast for people who like to go crazy with slap bracelets when they want to flirt with their wild side, where we celebrate our rich EU history as well as dive into lesser-known Star Wars classics. I'm your host, Jared Mays, and I'm joined tonight with us at least one more week before we're going to lose him for a couple weeks due to some travel. We're glad to have you here, looking fresh tonight. Freddie C.
Thank you. I'm wearing the Halloween shirt since I wasn't here for the Halloween episode, but I figured, what the heck, we're close enough. Still works.
Looks great. I love it.
It does. I like that.
And we also have you hear her over there giving some great ideas on my future Star Wars room. We've got Emily Dayback back with us once again this week. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
I have nothing special.
Very nice. I'm never quite sure when I'm allowed to talk on this show, so Go back to
all
my
the time.
corner.
With as frequently as I talk, I would recommend always in order to get a word in edgewise.
That's a good point.
I'm not the one that presses the buttons. The one who's doing that lets you onto the screen himself is our producer, Rick Grace. How are you, Rick?
Hey, I am here. I'm good, man. My family's been sick this week, but we're getting better, and I'm better now that I'm here. But if you hear me sniffle and cough, that's probably why.
Well, if they're sick enough, we could always go see a healer named Caleb on the deserted world of Ambria. Do you call him Caleb or Caleb? Because in the audiobook they say Caleb, and it drives me nuts.
Well, the
really?
audiobook also says what, Rancor?
Yeah, that's
Instead of Rancor.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I think it's one of the best Star Wars audiobooks ever made. But I mean, it's just Caleb. It's you can use biblical names in Star Wars. I mean, the protagonist is named Luke. You don't have to zhuzh it up. It's the fact that they're in the Star Wars is what zhuzhes it up, right? You don't have to give it a fancy. What you could do is give it an extra vowel.
Hey,
We've been talking about over in the Legends.
Apostrophes.
The Legends
Oh,
Lookback
yeah. That
Discord
would do it.
channel, right? Somebody made a suggestion. What was it? What character did they say should theoretically have an extra vowel in their name? Who was that? Did you guys see this?
yeah, I can't remember now.
No.
Jeez.
Well, somebody will let us know. A cloned character. Whose
I mean,
name
Mithrani
could
Roto,
have an-
but
Well, but like that was what I said, like as a
Right.
joke in response.
yeah,
And we'll find it and we'll let you guys know. Regardless, we all had the normal amount of vowels in our names tonight. However,
it's true.
if Freddie misses too many weeks in a row, we're gonna have to see what we can do over there in the cloning facility. We've got a great book for us to discuss tonight. But before we do have some Legends news. I had literally typed in the show notes, no Legends news this week. And then we got hit with, shall we say, a wave of Legends news. Rick, throw it up. Show us what we got.
Yep, we got a bunch coming in. So what is this, wave 3 now of our Essential Legends collections coming in the spring, or at least next year. We'll see how long they last as far as when they're actually coming. But we have one for Kenobi. It's looking pretty good. Really like that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's like kind of a watercolor style, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It
love-
looks like the classic books in like Barnes and Noble that you see.
Yep.
It's very much along those lines.
Got one for Darth
see that.
Plagueis as well, and I love this a lot.
Oh.
Man, I really like all of them. Wedge's Gamble looks incredible.
So cool.
And then Dynasty of Evil as well. So all of these, they're coming. They look great. I'm excited.
So yeah,
I'm
we've
gonna
actually
start
got
buying
the.
some, you guys.
You're gonna buy some, Emily?
I mean, those are beautiful.
They are.
I would put those on display. My husband will probably try to hide them, but I'll bring them out.
7 of them now, and I'll tell you what. Once you start to stack them up, and then like the next wave comes in, and you put them up next to the old ones, it's a fun feeling. It is.
You know, what's interesting about those covers is I've been listening to Bane on Audible, and they just changed the picture of Darth Plagueis, because Darth Plagueis I've had that in my
What,
listening.
Bane, you mean?
Or no, Darth Plagueis, the book.
They already
I've
changed
had that
it?
in my queue. They changed it yesterday, and I was like,
No
wait a
way.
minute.
That's quick.
Yeah,
Whoa.
it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's we got young Palpatine sitting on the throne, and much like Depa Balaba's deadpan stare from from Shatterpoint, we got Darth Plagueis looking over his shoulder, one eye over each shoulder, so perfect, kind of symmetry there. Which of these covers is your favorite, guys?
I'm still very much a fan of the X-Wing books. The covers for that, it just looks so nice. Wedge's Gamble looks so cool.
It's sleek.
It's so sleek, and it just fits the content, right? And I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's gonna look good next to Rogue Squadron. Rogue
Oh,
Squadron
yeah.
obviously was a red cover with an X-Wing pilot and some X-Wings. This one is a blue cover with another X-Wing pilot, believe it or not. But there's TIE Fighters in the goggles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what other colors will they do for the rest of the series?
Oh man.
Good one.
Oh man, yeah.
There's only so many colors you can choose from.
Well,
I'll
you
guess
got
purple.
green and yellow. Man, we're gonna go everything.
Rick, what's your favorite cover?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna go with Darth Plagueis. I just like I I don't know. I just like it. I can't explain it.
It's so menacing.
Yes.
It is. It's delicious. I love it.
Don't let
Great way to
Palpatine
put
hear
it.
you say that.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, we had some good conversation about this in the somewhere in the Youtini verse this week, whether it was on Twitter or Discord or somewhere else, about how there was an actor who the rumor was he was going to be cast as a young Palpatine in one of the sequels, and then that was scrapped. Didn't end up happening. And then I got to thinking, man, wouldn't it be great to have a young Palpatine show? Like each week he's doing something slimy behind the scenes. It's like going and training a young, 12-year-old preteen Darth Maul. Oh man, I need it. Emily, what's your favorite out of all these?
I like Kenobi. I think it's really classy looking.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
All right, so we got one.
Great. And the funny thing is that's probably my least favorite book.
What?
I don't really love Kenobi as a book, but I love that cover.
Well, Emily, it was nice having you on the show for 10 episodes here.
I know.
It's a very unique book, that's for sure. It definitely stands out as far as genre, I feel, but that's a different
it was
discussion.
The second book. It was like the second book I ever read, and I was like, what?
Read it again. What
is this? Yeah,
for me, it got a lot better on the reread. It did.
Okay.
Yes, true.
And then on the reread, and then the reread. Because I've listened to this book a bunch. All of these I have, honestly. I'm excited to have an audiobook for X-Wing Wedge's Gamble. I don't think they announced which one is getting the audiobook treatment, did they?
I heard rumors that it was Wedge's Gamble. I mean, the other ones all have them. They all have unabridged, so it has to be Wedge's Gamble.
Oh, there we go. Process of elimination. Look at Rick using reasoning.
Well, I have Audible, and I have a lot of audiobooks that are Star Wars titled, and so I've listened to the other 3 I know on Audible. So Wedge's Gamble is it, which is good, because that's what I want. We need more Squadron stuff, X-Wing, whatever.
Yes, I'm in.
Yes,
definitely.
So,
well, that leaves me with having to say that the Bane cover is my favorite. It might be. I don't know. I mean, I love all of these. What I like is looking at them all together, and then I like thinking about them fitting into their series. Bane, thinking about the other 2 covers with Darth Hannah. Isn't that right, Emily? Darth Hannah.
Listen. There's a lot of letters that get switched around. Some of us may be visual learners and just have a hard time when they're playing with audio things and they get letters switched in their heads. Yeah, one of the first episodes I was on the show, I called Darth Xana Darth Hannah because I was like, man, what a basic name.
None of us caught it live.
Surely.
Though.
Yeah, no one caught it live, but I remember thinking afterwards, it's like, oh my gosh, that was completely wrong. And that was I was so embarrassed.
Well, you said it so confidently. I kind of doubted myself because it had been a while since I read the series. And so I was like, was her name Hannah this whole time? Was it really Darth Hannah?
Biblical name? It works.
Bane, I'm late to the mall.
Oh my gosh. Just wait till Darth Karen comes out. It's going to be great.
All right. Fighting words. My mother's name was Karen. Let's not go there.
Sorry. I'm sorry. What about Darth Chad? How about that?
There we go.
Oh.
Darth Chad. There's some Chads in this book tonight. I'll tell you that's for sure. Definitely some Chads in Darth Bane, hanging out at the Korriban Academy, sucking up to Cordis's brain tails. Isn't Cordis the Twi'lek?
All right.
Try to use brain tails as often as possible. Now, I will say on the subject of the Essential Legends collections, John Jackson Miller went rogue on Twitter this week. First of all, he tweeted about Pokemon one day. So there was that.
I saw that.
I was like, oh, overload.
Ekans, right?
He was like, I didn't know that was Snake backwards. Anyway, friend of the show, John Jackson Miller, also the author of the book that at least 3 out of the 4 of us love, Kenobi. He did give the whole history of how this was almost a graphic novel for Dark Horse. He gave this long thread about the history of Kenobi. So check that out over there on John Jackson Miller's Twitter if you want to hear more of that. We're not just going to sit here and read his tweets because then we'd have to rename the show and it'd be hard to get other authors on. Anyway, but very excited about all of this. One other thing here in Legends Lookout, Freddie, your Halloween shirt might be replaced. Did you see that there is a new Legends Books shirt available from Out of Print Tees?
Yeah, I just saw that too. It's so nice. I'm gonna have to scoop this one up. I was thinking, why would I need this? But then you've got Boba Fett, Tales of the Empire right on there, and it just looks so good.
Yeah, you know what's funny is this is one of like only a dozen Legends books that I haven't read. They put it on a shirt.
Okay.
Yeah, they're sending me a message that I need to read the book. Right.
Are you gonna get the shirt before you read the book though?
That is an interesting question because y'all are keeping me busy here on the show. We've got like our next 4 or 5 roundtables all booked out already. So at the soonest, it could be like mid 2022 that I read it, unless I just like, squeeze it in my spare time, as if I have that these days because I'm busy repainting my bookshelves. We'll see. Jury's out on that one. I've not yet bought the shirt. I don't know that I need it. If it was Darth Bane, especially the original Rule of 2 cover, then I would have bought it. That's for sure. But did not buy this one yet. But you can over there on Out of Print. Now, before we cut to break, remember to like this video or you'll be imprisoned eternally in a thought bomb in a cave somewhere. Maybe not. But you can like the video. All right. We'll be right back.
And the odd. Like we see a Jedi Knight, Obi-Wan, jousting with a villain made out of bubble gum.
Where did he get bubble gum on such short notice?
Bubble gum.
Dengar and Boba Fett have such a fun bromance in Legends, which is cool. Yeah. They're more of a rivalry in canon, but because Dengar's a little derpier in canon. In Legends, they are such a fun pair because Dengar saves him from the Sarlacc.
It is kind of heavy with her and her dad's relationship, and they're trying to figure it out, but then they're killing a guy in the bathroom, so it's okay.
I want to have something matching. We look like freaking 3D glasses up here, but
Tonight we are talking about absolutely one of the very best Star Wars books ever written. I mean, hey, we cover some marginal Star Wars books on this show, but every now and then we actually get to cover one of the premier Legends books that you can write home to your mother about, right? Or except for maybe not, because it gets a little violent. I just got to the part where Bane steps on another Sith and crunches them and then says something like, "The purging of the Sith has begun." And I was like, oh yeah, it has.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, it definitely gets spicy. But tonight we're going to be talking about Darth Bane, Path of Destruction by Drew Karpyshyn, the first book of the Darth Bane trilogy. On tonight's show. First and foremost, I want to ask, what's your history with this book, guys? Have you read this one before? How many times have you read it? Any significant memories in having read or listened to it?
I'll jump in. So this was my second book to read a second time. Rogue Squadron is my first book to reread, but this is my second. I think it was my fourth Star Wars book. I read, the Thrawn trilogy first. And then I'm pretty sure I jumped right into Bane. Really, really good book. And we'll talk about this throughout the show, but I think this is one of the books that is like strangely like a lot of spiritual connections for me. And so it's a little bit of a stretch. I guess like an anti-hero kind of negative example. Don't be like this. Don't follow the path. But I really, really like this book kind of moves me, I guess, and so I'm really excited to be talking about it.
Why does this have a spiritual connection? All right, hard stop, record scratch.
Yeah.
What?
All right, so we can get
I could just see Rick about to slice somebody in half. So that's me right there.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So
this looks bad.
No, yeah, I get it. No, it's the idea of, are our fates final? Do we have control over our own lives? Is he destined by the dark side to become this menacing figure, or did he have choices that he could have made to avoid where he ended up? And so kind of getting into some of that, and then, like I said, just you can see how one decision, letting into your hate and your passion really consumes him as a person. It's kind of like, I guess, a parable of don't be like this. Don't let your passions consume you and drive you to be a monster. You know, and don't disregard the voices of the people around you, or you know, the whole idea of being a loner and making the rule of two stuff. Like it's a warning, I guess, for me. So that's the spiritual connection. I'm not saying I'm going to go out there and be rejuvenate the Sith as a cult or anything like that. So
yeah, okay. You heard it here on the show. Rick not going to rejuvenate the Sith cult. That's
right.
good news.
Yes.
Good job, Rick. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is interesting.
Yes.
That question, though, we're going to come back to that one.
All
for
right,
sure.
let's
Gotta
do it.
come back to that one. Freddie, you've read this. You've read this.
Yeah.
How many times have you read this? What was your first time reading it?
So
What's the
believe it or
scoop?
not, this is one of those books I hadn't read often, mainly because of the cover art. Just looking at it, you're like, I don't know. I don't think I want to read that one. Now it's different, right?
Eyeliner Darth Bane?
Yeah, eyeliner Darth Bane in some VFX. Yeah, it was terrible. But I remember this is actually, I was in college and I was going to the library to buy my textbooks. Like this is first years of college. I don't know what I'm doing. I see Bane, and it's in 2006, and it's a fresh book, fresh cover, hardcover.
Still
And I'm like,
smelling
you know
good.
what? I'm gonna buy this instead of the things I need to buy.
Yes, Freddie.
What?
Yeah.
Not in addition to, instead of.
Yeah, I just went to get that. I was like, I'll get the books later. Like long,
Gotta go read this
long
book.
lines. I'm gonna go
We-
start reading this.
Who among us? I mean, we've all been there. That's right. You go to the grocery
Wow.
store for milk and bread and toilet paper, and you come home with a Star Wars book. I mean, sometimes you're just
Yeah.
destined for these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the
Think-
first book I read in college.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Excellent. Emily, you've read this one multiple times
have.
now.
2 times, 2 whole times. So this
Wow.
is my second time reading this. And the first time I read, I think the ebook, and then this time I listened to the audiobook, and oh my gosh, I love it even more now. It's just incredible. I think it's probably my favorite book in Star Wars, truly.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice. Now, I'm excited for us to talk about the trilogy as a whole. We're going to get to the next 2 books early next year, spring and summer. We'll do Rule of Two and Dynasty of Evil. I think this is my least favorite of the 3. So
Really?
kind of fight, and we're going to get into why here in a second. It's a little disjointed for me.
Oh.
A little disjointed. That's my word. Disjointed, like all the severed limbs in this book. A lot of severed limbs. A lot of crunched noses. It's bloody. It's gory.
That is true.
I will say, and I told this story on episode 13. Eric and I covered this. Freddie dropped out at the last second. Was like, "Sorry guys, I can't make it." And it was just me and Eric. Like, "All right, Eric, we're talking about this book." Over on the audio podcast before we were doing this live. So if you want to hear Eric's take on Darth Bane: Path of Destruction, it was a real banger of an episode. We're asking some slightly different questions tonight. There's some overlap, but we had 3 people you have not heard before. But this story, it's got to happen again. All right, everybody just play along like you've not heard it before. One of the youth ministers in my hometown in Arkansas. Rick, did you ever meet Donovan Fox?
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
that a great,
I know
isn't that a
him.
great Star Wars name?
It is.
Wow.
He's a good dude.
I mean, it sounds like a Star Wars character, doesn't
It's
it?
like a
Oh, yeah.
special agent.
He called me to his office. I was at a youth event in his church. He's like, "Jared, I hear you're a Star Wars fan. Come look in my office." And it was like this. He had, up above his desk, like Bible, Star Wars book, Star Wars book, Star Wars book, Star Wars book. And he loaned me right before vacation. He loaned me 2 books. He was like, "All right, here's 2 that I really love that you might like." He handed me very different books, mind you. Darth Bane, Path of Destruction. It must have been right after it came out as a paperback, because this was probably 2007 at the latest. So, I mean, it must have just been a fresh paperback. He hands me Darth Bane, Path of Destruction, and Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Huh.
I read them both on the beach with my family. My parents are like, "Jared, you want to go get ice cream?" I'm like, "No." deep in the archives on Korriban, learning about Darth Bane's vision for the Sith. Great
Yeah, that's
stuff.
not
So,
an ice cream book.
There's nothing like having a book tan.
book tan.
Book tan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I returned it to him full of sand. I mean, like, you can't take a book to the beach and have it come back intact. So huge shout out there to Donovan Fox.
Yeah.
Emily, tell us a little bit about the series, the trilogy, some of the stats here on when these came out and all that good stuff.
Sure. So this one, Path of Destruction, was published in 2006. The next one in this series, The Rule of Two, was published in 2007. And then the final book of the trilogy, Dynasty of Evil, was published in 2009.
What's fun is I got Dynasty of Evil. I bought the hardback day of. Like I went down to local bookstore, bought it hardback the day it came out. Like I was dying to read this thing. And our goofy family tradition is like if you get birthday money from like a grandparent or a relative, you know where I'm going with this, Rick?
Yeah, I remember this story, I think.
Okay, yeah. If you get birthday money, you got to show where you got what you got with the money. And my mom on Christmas Day was like, "Son, show your grandmother what you bought with her money."
Oh.
Dynasty of Evil. Just kidding.
I hold up. I mean, like very conservative Christians. I hold up this book called Dynasty of Evil. And I'm like, I'm going to be reading this, so please stop talking to me because this book is amazing. And her quote was, "Okay." She actually just passed away a couple weeks ago. So shout out to Grandma for making it on the pod.
Yeah.
Shout out to Grandma, absolutely, for gifting what is now a quite rare Legends hardback.
Yes.
I mean, tough to get, quite expensive. Now, here's the thing with Darth Bane. I want to get a little bit of feedback here, play a little game here with us here live in the chat. Please let us know, participate here with us. Do you know the origin of Darth Bane? Who created the character, first and foremost? Second of all, when was Bane's first appearance? I'll tell you this much. It may or may not be in this book. The first appearance of Darth Bane. I don't want to spoil it, Emily. You know, you can't answer that you think he was created for this book by Drew Karpyshyn, and that the Path of Destruction is the first appearance of Darth Bane in Star Wars publishing. That's a perfectly valid answer. I don't want to spoil it. Could be a trick question. See what I'm saying?
Okay. Well,
I don't actually know.
Yes, chat. Please play along.
I don't actually know.
I thought this was the same. I thought this was it.
All right.
So that's the thing is you would think this is it.
Right.
That this is the origin of Darth Bane, but it's not. It's not. This is not Darth Bane's first appearance. This is one of my favorite Legends fun facts to like burst people's Legends bubble with, and so we're bursting it. Sorry for all the popped bubbles out there, but I'm telling you, it's a fun payoff. It is fun payoff.
What do you think, Rick? I honestly am going with Emily here. I'm not even sure where. I thought it was this book.
Yeah, I was
really wrong.
Trying to think. I mean, Darth Plagueis was written after, and so that wouldn't be it. You know, unless it just was in George Lucas's mind as part of, you know, his big, like just a random detail. You know, similarly to how a lot of Ralph McQuarrie art will get repicked up and a character will be brought up out of something. It might have just been like a snippet that existed somewhere.
Bing, 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 bing. This is a George Lucas creation.
Oh, cool.
Correct.
Ooh,
yes.
G-level canon.
Nice.
But
Well done.
Thank you.
George Lucas did not put him in a film, nor was he referenced in the original trilogy or prequel trilogy in a George Lucas movie. So his first appearance in the EU is not in a George Lucas created property. So there's still more to the question. Yes, he did create him as some of the lore for the prequels as he was developing the Phantom Menace. All right. So then the question is, when is his first appearance in the EU? Freddie, this one's got to go to you. They both answered. They've both been a little right, a little wrong.
Well, I mean, I know that there's a Dark Horse comic back in 2001, Jedi vs. Sith comic, I believe.
Now, go ahead.
But I'm not entirely sure if it's not something that I've really dug into, so I can't say with confidence if Bane was in those, but I feel like he might be.
He's in them, though that's not his first appearance. So you're close, Freddie.
Okay.
You're close.
Okay.
Now, thanks to Skooma Joe here in the chat, he is correct that unless he's over there on the Wook, because it's just right there. So, don't want to say that you just looked it up, but you might have. Now, I think you knew this. He knows this. He knows his Legends stuff.
Skooma knows everything.
He knows a lot of stuff. Of course, was first created by George Lucas, and was his first appearance in the EU is a mention in the novelization for the Phantom Menace. So that little piece, it was in the original Phantom Menace script, and then makes its way into the novelization. And there's a line, if you go back and watch the Phantom Menace, they mention that there's two Sith Lords, right? There's always one. There are no
No more, no less.
No more, no less.
Yeah.
Sure. Right. That line is in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then Darth Bane, right, makes first appearance in the Phantom Menace. The first Phantom Menace novelization, unless I'm wrong, which could happen. I know that he also, as Skuma also says here, there's a short story by Kevin J. Anderson, Bane of the Sith. I had actually forgotten this. I read it a few months ago and had forgotten, so thank you for that detail. Bane of the Sith. I'll tell you what, it's interesting, and it reads, if you put that right up alongside Path of Destruction and this comic, Jedi versus Sith, and read them sequentially, back to back to back, you can see how his story evolves and is adapted. It basically tells most of that Ruusan battle, the battle on Ruusan. It tells all of that, and so this book adapts that. That's why I think this is not my favorite book in the trilogy. It's a little disjointed in the way that it adapts.
I could see that.
The source material, because it basically forms the final third of the book, and most all of that had been written previously. So, if you didn't know that, I would highly, highly, highly recommend checking out the 2001 Dark Horse comic, Jedi versus Sith. It's a 6-issue miniseries. The writer is Darko Makan, the penciler Ramon F. Box, and cover artist Andrew Robinson. Now, let me ask you guys this. Who is your favorite Bane, at least conceptually, visually? Do you have a favorite Bane? I think we've got some images here of Bane's various looks, Bane's various looks over the years. We've got obviously the original cover. We call him Eyeliner Darth Bane.
I like to call him PlayStation 2 Eyeliner Bane.
PlayStation 2 Darth Bane. I call him Eyeliner Darth Bane. Okay. Who else? We've got Bane from the new Legends Essential Legends collection. The eyeliner's there, but it's not the main focus.
It's like battle
Looks
paint.
like he hasn't slept, right?
Yeah.
Like he hasn't slept.
Right.
Sure, right. He looks corrupted by the dark side and sleepless. It's less of a fashion choice and more of like a consequence, a side effect. The Jedi versus Sith Darth Bane. The way that he is pictured in the comic. This is the cover art to issue number 3 by Andrew Robinson. I love this, but he does look a little bit like offensive lineman for the Detroit Lions. Right, with a cyborg arm. Why does he have a cyborg arm? What's up with that?
I don't know.
Well, he's got it. There it is. And you got anything else there? It looks like Thanos. Rocky Zim says there in the chat. Oh, this is my personal favorite. Here we go. What? This is the way he is pictured in one of my very favorite reference books, the New Essential Guide to Characters
in
from
a
2002.
Reference book?
Yeah, this
looks
is
like somebody just threw a bunch of spaghetti at him.
It's before Spaghetti Bane. That's what we're gonna call him.
Super Saiyan
Spaghetti
Evil
Bane.
Bane.
Super Saiyan Spaghetti Bane. It's before this book is ever written, right? It's just based off of that short story and the comic. And so, yeah, it's one way of picturing him. What drives me the most nuts about it is he's got a purple lightsaber.
Oh yeah.
In that one, the purple. There's a whole thread on Reddit, I think, about the history of Darth Bane's lightsaber, all the various ways it's depicted. That's a whole deep dive we could do maybe next week. And yeah, it's got the obelisk armor that comes up in the second book, I believe. And then the final version of Bane from the Clone Wars. He, of course, is now a canon character. He appears in the ghosts of the one where Yoda has Yoda, right? The evil Yoda twin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, season 6. Yeah, it talks about the spirit of Bane, and it's what drives me nuts about it is like Yoda has to explain it for all the noobs, right? And he's like, "Oh, Darth Bane, you are created the rule of Sith. You did. Oh." And it's like, we know, we get it. All right. So, which of these is your favorite Bane? Freddie, you're up first.
Well, Spaghetti Bane. I've never seen Spaghetti Bane before, but I kind of like that one.
I'm happy to get to introduce you to Spaghetti Bane. I'm very proud of that. You never seen him?
Yeah, I've never seen Spaghetti Bane before, but I'd have to admit, I really do like when Bane came into the Clone Wars. That was a big shocker to me. I was like, whoa, okay, we get to see Bane in canon now. We get to see like an animated version of Bane. I was very, very pleased for that. So that one was a very happy Bane to see.
Oh, really? That's my least favorite out of all of these. Because for me, he's not my
Bane.
Bane.
Like a samurai.
Yeah, it's not. And if that's your thing, that's great. But for me, like, it wasn't consistent with the Bane that I knew from the cover of the book, right? It was like, he doesn't look like him. That's not the way his helmet looks. It doesn't look nearly spaghetti enough for me. Sure. Rick, which of these is your favorite?
Man, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with the new Essential Legends version. I like this one. It's pretty solid.
They did a really great job, honestly.
Yeah.
You could actually look at that face and think that's a Sith Lord.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Without
overdoing it, without it's just simple, and I like it.
Definitely love that kind of pencil-y style. Emily, what's your pick?
I gotta go with the OG, the Path of Destruction for me. I like that.
The eyeliner Bane.
Yeah, eyeliner Bane, because that was my first Bane. So I was like, okay, that must be what he looks like.
Well, perfect. Nobody took my pick. Nobody took my pick. I like
what's
the comic.
yours?
The comic.
The comic
Bane.
one.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Not just that cover, but like as you read it, it does focus. Scuba Joe does highlight the fact that it highlights more of the Jedi characters, and also Rain, the character who we meet in the epilogue, right? The little girl and the bouncers, the little critters that hang. You're like, what are these things? Well, the comic. They're comic details. That's what they are. They work perfectly in the comic book.
Okay.
And so when Bane shows up in that, which is kind of lighthearted, and then Bane shows up and you're like, oh, this just got serious. So he makes a huge impact in that comic because like you don't expect it. You don't really expect it. Like the Brotherhood of Darkness, they're kind of derpy. They're like bickering with themselves, and they're not all that threatening. There's a character named Valentine Farfalla. So it's like
that was
my favorite Jedi in all of the EU, Valentine Farfalla. I've claimed him.
That name.
He's off the pick.
Woo.
That's right. Off the board. He's my pick. He's my guy. I love him so much.
Oy.
All right. So we've talked about the Darth Bane depictions over the years. Let us know in the comments which one is your favorite. Rocky Zimby says Emo Bane is his favorite. Scuba Joe says that he likes the Orbalisk armor, but the helmet is a bit much for him. We've got a question here. Who would you fan cast as Farfalla? I got to think about that.
Oh man, I thought about that
Matthew
today.
McConaughey.
See,
I can see that.
Long hair.
What's Menace?
Keanu Reeves.
No, it's not Keanu Reeves. He's got blonde hair, like Russell Brand. Could be Russell Brand.
No,
blonde hair.
Ooh,
it's
that would be good.
It is Chris Hemsworth. I'm telling you, it is like a goofy Thor. That is who Farfalla is to me. Is a goofy, over the top Thor. It's Chris Hemsworth all day long.
I could see that.
That works. All right. Well, we've talked about just about everything we could possibly say in terms of the backstory of Darth Bane. Another fun thing we haven't mentioned is it does tie into the Dark Forces books, which of course were written before this. So the consequences of Ruusan. We won't spoil too much there, but everything that goes on at Ruusan, the third act of this book, is then referenced after Return of the Jedi in the Dark Forces book. So there's some more impetus for Rick to crack those expensive hardcovers that he got, right?
Yeah.
Kyle Katarn goes to Ruusan. Emily, tell us a little bit about Drew Karpyshyn, the author.
Well, he wrote this. He What would you like to know about him?
Well, yeah, that was it. That he's the author, Drew Karpyshyn.
Yeah.
No, here's
I was about to say, I was like, there's.
I wanted to turn this into kind of a game instead of us just telling you all the information. What other Star Wars entries has he written? This is not his only contribution to the Star Wars universe. Obviously, he's written this entire trilogy, which it's rare for one author to write an entire trilogy. There's only a handful that do that in all of Legends. We could do a whole episode on it another day. But do you know? We'll toss this around the board. Don't just have to put Emily on the spot. What else has Drew? Without looking at the Wook, Freddie, I see you typing over there.
I'm not. I'm just going through my memory bank here.
What other Star Wars entries, and I'm not just saying books, okay? What other Star Wars stories has Drew Karpyshyn written? Do any of you know any of them? There's a handful.
Well, I feel like I know 2 books, but I'm not entirely sure because it's been a long time since I've touched them. I'll talk about one of them, and maybe Rick can sling out another one. But I feel like Revan. Not 100% sure, but I feel like he wrote Revan as well.
Really?
That's right. Correct. There's one.
He did?
Okay, so that one's right.
Yes.
Ooh.
That was gonna be my guess, so I'm half out. I can maybe come up with something, but
and I'll give you this much: that answer is a clue to what the next thing is, to one of his other entries as well.
Did he write the other 2 Darth Bane books?
Well, he wrote another one.
Wrote this whole trilogy, right?
Yeah, he wrote another one in like the Old Republic era.
That's correct, Freddie.
Deceived and
Annihilation.
There you go, Annihilation.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
The one.
Isn't there a fourth one that's not? It's like is there four of those or just 3?
4.
What's the other one?
Yeah,
Fatal Alliance.
He wrote Annihilation. Did he write 2 of them?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't want to do the thing where I turn around.
I don't know if he's written anything else.
Not into the microphone.
I don't think he's written anything else other than those 2 books.
Okay.
Or obviously, of course, Bane, but Annihilation and Revan. I can't think of anything else other than that.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint. He wrote a video game.
Oh.
You can write that?
Somebody's got to come up with the story. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I never thought that.
Now, did he do anything with the Old Republic?
KOTOR?
That's right, Emily. Knights
He
of the Old
wrote
Republic.
KOTOR?
He is the lead writer on Knights of the Old Republic. That is probably, other than this, his biggest contribution to the
those are
universe.
pretty massive contributions.
Yeah, they are.
They are. That's big.
Also wrote on Mass Effect. Yes, thank you to OK Endar for hanging out and giving us that answer. Also says he did write some Star Wars: The Old Republic stories, which I just beat the game. The main story.
Congratulations!
This week.
Good job, Jared.
There's still so many expansions, though. So many expansions.
I definitely feel like Drew Karpyshyn. He's definitely a very underrated author in Star Wars. Not as celebrated as some of the others, but he's produced some
like
great
after
works.
hearing what he's done, I'm like, I think he's probably my favorite author, actually. Because like everything you listed, I was like, okay, those are my favorites. So I guess I must really like him.
Well, hey, perfectly acceptable for you to say this is your favorite Star Wars author. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. So yeah, those are his major contributions. There are 4 Old Republic books. He wrote 2 out of the 4, Bane and Annihilation.
Okay.
And so you were right. He did write more than one. Of course, being Revan and Annihilation. What's that?
I was just trying. I have to fill in the blank. So the other 2 is that Paul Kemp that wrote one of the other 2, or who is it who wrote?
Yes, right. He wrote one of them.
Okay.
I don't know the other.
That's okay. It's okay. I don't mean to rabbit hole there. My brain had to have
I pride myself on knowing most
completion.
of this stuff, but live on the show, you instantly forget everything.
I know.
That's for sure.
Yep.
I still haven't beaten the game, by the way. Still haven't beaten the game.
What, Knights of the Old Republic?
Yep. Still got to do it.
Where you at, Freddie?
Usually in the cantina gambling.
I can see that. Hanging out with the... Or do you do the dance with the Twi'lek? There's like a game where you have to do the dance with her.
What?
I
That's part of the game?
She's like embarrassed
that level
and
yet.
not a very good dancer. And so if you dance with her, you get light side points.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Make her feel comfy.
Does she give you something
great.
at the end? Like
you don't want to know. You don't want to know. So you got to play it and find out. I actually don't remember. What a great game. I don't know if he wrote, that part, but definitely wrote the main story. Now, we're going to talk about the character of Darth Bane tonight, and we'll hold off on the other characters for next week, as well as some of the overarching questions. Of course, this takes place 1,000 years before Episode 1, 3,000 years after Knights of the Old Republic, though you wouldn't know it because of how much this book references Knights of the Old Republic. Boy, does he love to pay homage to Knights of the Old Republic in this book. Another reason why it's not, my favorite of the trilogy. It's great. It's fine. But it gets to be a bit egregious. It's like, hey, guys, have you also played my video game that I've written? I wrote a video game. You remember this planet from the video game? Also, how about this planet from the video game? How about that one? Yeah. Anyway, do love both of them, poking a little bit of fun because I love them. Now, do want to say that the audiobook is narrated by Jonathan Davis as well, despite the fact that we were throwing some shade on the way he pronounces Khalib. It is an absolutely excellent audiobook. In fact, on the guide that we have on Youtini.com about the best Star Wars audiobooks, this holds the title as the best Legends audiobook. I think. I wrote it. I'm fairly sure that that's what I crowned. kind of a Jonathan Davis stand.
At all.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones. So, spoiler heavy territory at this point, folks. If you have not yet read the book, there's no shortage of ways to get your hands on this book. You can, in fact, get the audiobook for free on us over on Youtini.com. If you click the little Audible link in the bottom right corner, you can choose this one on our dime. So continue at your own risk. It's on the Cortosis mining world of Apatros that there is an angry young man named Dez with daddy issues for days. During his hours off from working the mines, he likes to take money from Republic soldiers in Sabak by using his unnatural intuition to win at cards. After he's confronted by bitter Republic troops, Dez kills the flight officer and is snuck off-world by the Nemoidian bartender, who, for my money, might be the best character in this book. Anyway, his only escape from Republic justice is to join the Sith army. Cut to part 2. Dez quickly becomes the lead special ops team of Sith troopers, the Gloomwalkers. He leads a mutiny against his commanding officer in order to spare his squad from certain death on a suicide mission, emerges victorious, and attracts the attention of a certain Sith Lord, who once again relocates Dez, this time to the Sith Academy on Korriban. You know, the same one from Knights of the Old Republic. The same academy, right, guys? Wink, wink. Anyway, Dez there trains in the dark side to become a Sith Lord. He assumes the new name of Bane, much to his teacher's chagrin, because it's kind of like a hippie commune of Sith Lords, isn't it? It's all about equality. Bane isn't about
evil
that.
Man.
He's much more of a Darwinian Sith Lord, survival of the fittest and all that jazz. And then he, of course, names himself after what his father used to call him, Bane of my existence. On Korriban, there, Bane kills a fellow student in the dueling ring with the use of the Force, develops a rivalry with the most powerful student, a Zabrak named Sirak, and attracts both attention and jealousy from some of the Academy's masters. Bane feels guilty for killing Sirak, goes through a bit of a depressive stage, and then meets a girl who totally just snaps him out of it. And, her name is Youtini, and she's awesome, and there's a whole thing there. During his time as an outcast, Bane becomes a disciple of the ancient Sith Lord Darth Revan, starts reading all of his old books and kind of becomes a nerd, right? Isn't he like the nerdiest Sith Lord ever?
I love it.
Yeah,
really is.
Relate. That's why we love him. Maybe so. Ultimately, Bane and Youtini plan to take down Sirak. Once he does defeat Sirak, he doesn't kill him, which disappoints Youtini. Bane goes on a vision quest to the planet of Lihan, also from the Knights of the Old Republic, right? The unknown planet with the fish-eyed people. Anyway, there's a Rancor. He finds Darth Revan's holocron. It inspires him to have a new vision for the Sith, the rule of two. One to embody the power, one to crave it. Bane travels to Ruusan to join Khan's crusade against the Jedi, tricks him into a last-ditch effort to win the war by unleashing an ancient Sith ritual, the Thought Bomb. Khan and the Brotherhood of Darkness perform the ritual, trapping 99 Jedi in an eternal cave of oblivion, but much to their surprise, they were trapped right alongside with him, that dastardly Dark Lord Bane. The book concludes with Bane stumbling upon a young girl named Rain on Ruusan, who had accidentally killed a few Jedi, and she leaves with Bane to become the new Sith apprentice to the Dark Lord of the Sith. Freddie, lead us off. Rate this book on a 1 to 10 scale. How high does this rank among the great Legends books of all time?
Again, audiobook is phenomenal. The story is good. I like the story. There's nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. I see your point of view, how it's a little disjointed. As we go into more of the Bane trilogy, I believe it just gets way better. But it's a good start, I think, and I'd give it a 7.2.
7.2. Whoa, that's kind of low for one of the greatest Legends books ever. I mean, I know I poked some fun at it, but like, come on, Freddie.
Wow.
What are you trying to do? Get kicked off the show? I mean, I know you're gone for like the
Trusa
next few
Bakura
weeks.
still up there. You know, it's got to compete with the Raptors. The
This
space
is
Raptors.
not. If you love the sci-fi Star Wars books, this is not one of them.
No. This is
And you do.
like a classic. I would call it a fantasy, right? It's a fantasy sci-fi.
It's like
thing.
his
Character heavy
development.
Yeah.
right. What's the hero's journey? It's just a dark side hero's journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Certainly. Emily, what's your rating? Surely higher than Freddie.
9.4 for
9.4.
sure.
That's probably the right score. I mean, let's be honest.
Oh man, I gave it a 5 on Goodreads, and I don't give 5s. So I absolutely loved it.
I find the star rating stressful, so I don't give anything any scores. I just say, finish the book, leave me alone. Rick, what's your rating for this one?
So I actually liked the segments in the book and thought that it's a masterful job of connecting the different eras. You know, it flows really well. A lot of times when there's a huge chunk of time explored in a book, I just can't. I get like whiplash. But I tracked pretty well with this, so that was I really enjoyed how he kind of went through those segments. I've got some issues, I guess, with it. Maybe like some of the same reasons I like it, like I talked about earlier, just the philosophical questions and how the Force works, how the dark side of the Force works. But, you know, I guess, I don't know, one of my qualms is that Bane could be darker, you know, and you don't really get that. And so
he's kind of a good guy in some ways.
Right. And he's violent, and that's pretty dark, but like
Let me kill a whole family. Not dark enough.
It's pretty dark.
He does a lot of nice things before he kills the children, okay?
Nah. Yeah, I mean, it is dark. It is dark. Don't hear me wrong, but I don't know. But I'd probably give it an 8.5.
Yeah, I think I was going to give it an 8.5 just to be different. I'll give it an 8.4.
There you go.
8.4.
All right.
And here's the thing. You said it's very easy to read. It flows really well. It's easy to track with. That's actually one of my complaints. I think it's too easy to read. It's too sequential. There's nothing along the way where you're like, what? Hold on, what's happening here? I got to really think about this and sink into it. It's like cotton candy. It just is so easy to digest, which is good. Yeah. But like, I just read Ronin.
I'm reading it right now. Don't spoil it.
Ronin.
And that one's tough.
It is tough.
Like, it's every sentence is, and I think too much so. Every sentence is shooting for the fences for a home run, the most important sentence ever written in the history of literature.
Yes.
This book only gets there on one or two occasions.
I agree with you on that, Jared. I was saying the same thing.
I think this one's too easy, whereas that one's too tough.
Too easy to read. Bane's not dark enough. What is wrong with you?
You know, my
in
thing
the
is,
world.
I rate it lower because I know what's coming, and those books to me are 8 to 10s. Like, I mean, the ones after this, they just get significantly better. It's a good start, right? But like where it's going, if I had never read anything else, I think my rating would be higher on Path of Destruction.
Yeah, it's an origin story.
I apologize, Scuba Joe, but you know, the next book is not going to be a 7 for me at all. Like, it's going to be up in the 8s and 9s.
Out of all the Marvel movies, for example, would you ever rate an origin story higher than like the second movie about a character, where they can really
that's the thing, right?
in?
The first part is just a what would you call it? Like a formality of getting to know this person, building their story, making them interesting, so then you can get into the action, because that's exactly what I like. And that's, you know, you have to get through it though. And the good thing is it is like cotton candy, so it's easy to get through and just be like, okay, I'm ready for the next.
Certainly. Yeah.
And I definitely see your rating, Emily. I would rate it up there as well, except I know what's coming, and those are going to be much higher for me.
I guess I just kind of don't view my ratings as like, if I give this one a 9.4, then like I can't give that to any other book.
No, I mean, you certainly can. And this is one of the best Legends books ever written.
Mm-hmm.
You can and should give it a 9. We're being a little bit picky.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And like,
we are.
Well, usually I'm the picky one. So like for this one, I was really excited to give a really high rating, because like with Rogue Squadron, it was like a 7 or something like that.
That's where I was
once
different.
Again,
right.
The worst book in that series is the worst one, because you got to have your origin story to then get us to the next. Wait till we get the Wedges Gamble. Man.
When Rick was saying that like he isn't dark enough, and I think it's because this is the origin story. He can't be that dark yet. You have to see how he gets there.
That's true.
He definitely starts to get there though. I mean, the fact that he just crushes a dude.
Yes.
And...
yeah.
Yes, it got a little, you know.
And I guess
it
got a little much.
Can I elaborate a little bit about that?
Yes.
Sure. I'm thinking out like why would I want it to be darker? I think because like all right, this is really lame, but I'm a youth minister, so it's for the children, right? I'm thinking about the children, and I don't want people to read this book and be like, I can relate with this guy. I can be like him.
To Bane.
And so he's almost too relatable because
I also have
he's
daddy
been
issues.
through.
I should kill people.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. No, you don't want that.
Exactly.
No, don't go
Rick,
from here to there.
Rick, I'm so glad you brought that up because during my read of this book in my current life, you know how every time you read a book or watch a movie, you relate it to your current self?
Yeah, totally.
And maybe some of your past. I saw like the whole development of Bane and I was like, oh my gosh, like we have a lot of the same traits. And there's a clear like chaotic good, chaotic evil.
Right.
I guess I'm chaotic good. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's a clear delineation. I'm like, oh yeah, I would not kill those kids.
Right.
That's
yeah,
good.
He crosses a line.
Yay,
but like he's relatable. Like you're like, okay, I can see how a person would make these choices, and then he crosses the line, and you're like, okay, well that's where
that's
it ends.
A Sith.
yeah.
There's just a lot more, I guess, like I don't know, like not fame or power, but like the passion side, whether it's sexual things or I don't know, just power hungry. He's just violent. That's all I get from him is just violent. And so they don't really get to the evil is portrayed in like almost a positive light, where I just have some reservations with that. But anyway, that's just me being a prude.
Along those lines, let me ask: when do you think he truly becomes Darth Bane? When is the point when he crosses that line? Because there were a few different points in the book when I was like, that's the moment he really became Darth Bane. And then we get to the next thing, and I'm like, no, that's the moment when he really became Darth Bane. When do you think it is? When was it when he killed his father with the Force? Or was it when he smashed that guy's face in, who was dying on Rusan?
Do you know, that's a good question. I feel like he became Darth Bane when he felt the Brotherhood betray him. If they had not betrayed him and if they had kept him involved and not just like ostracized him, because in any culture around the world, being ostracized from your group is like the worst form of punishment all over the place. It doesn't matter where you're from. It's like the worst thing you could do. And I feel like that moment where they were like, he was like, fine, go out there and look for your stuff. You're not going to find anything. And just being abandoned like that really pissed him off. And I think if they let him just kind of do his thing, it might have been a little different, but maybe not. He was still going down an intense path there. So
yeah, I mean, he literally goes into the wilderness.
Yeah.
Isn't that usually when a character finds themselves? Like that's it's pretty clear illustration, I think. I agree with Freddie on that.
Yeah, kind of like in The Office when Dwight says that he was shunned for a year for peeling a beet the wrong way. Is that the thing?
I don't remember. Oh, Dwightisms.
Yeah,
Dwight and
it's
Bane.
Exactly the same thing, right?
Yeah,
Darth Bane.
Same. Thank you. Goodness.
Now, I also thought maybe it was when he killed Cordis.
Yeah.
And said, and I think that duel between him and Cordis. Is one of the best scenes in all of Legends. Like one of the coolest lightsaber battles ever written.
Well,
Star Wars.
And the way he justifies it too is so great. He's like, well, if he was supposed to be on my side, he wouldn't have died.
Yeah.
That is true. That is where he kind of starts making cutthroat decisions about like people's lives no longer matter. It's only the mission of restoring the Sith to glory.
But I will ask the question though. Was the dark side influencing him to become the Darth Bane, like that Darth title? Was that really his destiny and he had no control over it?
No, he definitely made conscious choices.
This is the question.
He definitely did, but I don't know.
This is the question that Rick asked earlier that I thought like that one's really worth discussing. Does the dark side shape Bane's fate? There's a few points like this in Legends where there's kind of like it's implied that the dark side created a character's, evil path. Like when Plagueis goes to visit Tatooine. It's implied. No, it's when Plagueis is doing some experiment with midichlorians, and it basically wills for Anakin to be born. Right. It's implied. We'll have to reread it in Darth Plagueis. Isn't it implied, Freddie? We read this one together. That Plagueis creates Palpatine with the Force.
It
creates Anakin.
Yeah, creates Anakin, or at least something, right? They're just playing around with creating something from midichlorians, and I can't remember exactly how it happens, but it is implied, but they don't really specify it exactly.
And then the light side creates a hero, right?
counter.
It creates the one who was prophesied to destroy the Sith in response. Yeah, we're totally butchering this, but you get the point. You get the point. But what about for Bane? What about for Bane? Was he destined to become the one?
This is where I see. It's funny because I feel like the Sith are literally the product of bad mental health.
Yeah, right.
Right, like not even trying to joke.
I would hope so. Yeah.
But like if there was a therapist,
school counselor,
and Bane, had a different, yes, he could have had the troublesome background, but if he had the therapy to get him through that and understand the other stuff and possibly get him away from that, he might have been the best Jedi ever. Right. And so this is where I think it's really his personality, and he's a martial artist. Come on, guys! Like I read those martial arts scenes as if it was me, trying to perfect the moves, being in the dojo like hundreds of hours just trying to get it.
Did you like the part where he has to like learn the form as opposed to just learning his opponent's weaknesses?
Totally,
you got to master the form.
So good. I love that whole thing. But also like his personality is like I'm not going to be okay at this. I'm going to be the best. And I think the Force is also like part of that, right? He's going to be the best at whatever it is, and he's just going to take the path that he's going to take, whatever path that is, right? And he's shaping it around himself. That's how he creates waves. It's not the other way around.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. We could talk about this all night.
I'm not sure I've got a perfect answer.
Yeah.
There's a few points in the book where it seems like the dark side is steering him. It's a good thought experiment there, Rick. Do you have an opinion one way or the other since it's your question?
I mean, I've been kind of chewing on it, but both and I think that the dark side open a lot of things, a lot of possibilities. But yeah, Freddie, like you said, he definitely made. Well, everyone said that he's made a lot of choices. So his choices got him there, and there definitely were some defining moments. So I don't think he was trapped in that track, But I think that the track was kind of already beaten for him, plowed ahead of time, so he could just follow it pretty easily.
I'm gonna bring one more thing up, Rick. What do you think about this? So putting the whole Force into perspective, right? It has to balance itself out. The Jedi are fairly strong, and the Sith are getting weaker. So there needs to be something more on the darker side of everything, right? If we look at it in that aspect. Yeah. So it's a toss-up.
Yeah, that's fair. Even though he pretty much wipes out the Sith Order, but he makes it stronger in the process. So yeah, it's still kind of a that's good.
Gray Jedi solve every issue.
Yeah.
Well, Bane is a great Jedi.
Let's just meet in the middle.
Well, there was a great quote. I have to find it and see if I can post it in the Discord or bring it up for next week. That the lines between dark and light were being blurred in the War on Ruusan, where the Jedi were becoming. There was very little difference between the Jedi and the Sith. The Jedi were becoming darker, and the Sith were
Master Hoth.
Not really all that evil. Sure.
Yeah.
Man, I thought that was one of the better quotes in the book. Well, we are out of time. We have so much more to discuss as it concerns the other characters in the book. We'll talk a little bit next week about Youtini, Khan, even Hoth, as Freddie has just mentioned there. But before we do, that'll be it for tonight. I do want to give you a heads up that after this, we will be doing the Boba Fett Blood Ties omnibus in December. But then, hey, if you're wanting some more Darth Bane in your life, we will be doing Darth Bane Book 2 in the spring. What is this one called? Rule of Two. That's helpful that Book 2 is called Rule of Two. Easy to remember. We're doing that one in the springtime. Next week, we'll be doing part 2 on this roundtable. So stay tuned for more for us next week. Thank you for joining us here on Legends Look Back. We want to thank our incredible patrons for your amazing support. What's awesome is we even have a couple of new ones up on the roster this week. A special thank you to Cheryl Bell, Patrick Ortiz, Carl Sander, OK Indar, and JG Kars on our Jedi High Council, as well as Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Sally and Chris Eilerson, Freddie C., Earl Q, Tyler Latour, and Matt Billington on our Alliance High Command. Thank you for your amazing support. It's fun to have some more ones to read there, isn't it, Freddie?
It always is. It always is, for sure.
Remember, everybody, to sub to this channel if you're watching on YouTube and leave us a review. If you're listening on audio, leave us a review in your favorite podcast platform of choice. We could use a few of those, and they go a long way to help more people find the show. If you'd like your thoughts read on the show, you can email us at legendslookback@youtini.com. You can send us a message in the Legends Look Back Discord channel. You can leave a comment on this episode on YouTube, or you can find us on Twitter. The main account is at Legends Look Back. I'm at Jared Q. Mays. Freddie.
At Wake Up Freddy.
Rick.
Hey, Rick _ Grace. I forgot my thing.
And Emily.
At Darth Daybeck.
If you're looking to buy some of these books, such as Darth Bane, Path of Destruction, or if you're going to want to get a head start on book 2 for the springtime, you can go on over to youtini.com, click the Amazon link in the profile, or if you've read this and want to let us know what you think, you can leave us a review there as well. Remember, everybody, keep the Youtini fan code and be a force for positivity in the fandom. May the force be with you.